What's up, everybody? This is Levi Gunderson. This week we are going to be talking about the newspapers and the right of reply in the Freedom of the Press book. Specifically, we're going to be going over the case of Miami Herald versus Tornillo, um, which covers the First Amendment, the freedom of speech, freedom of action, um, and kind of just how the media badmouths people and um, puts people in a bad light, pretty much. So, first thing I thought of were the tabloids that you see in grocery stores and whatnot, um, and how much content is just published, whether you know if it's real or not. Um, it can put celebrities or people who are usually thought of as well respected people in a bad light. Um, and this can impact them negatively or positively. If it's a celebrity that is shown in this kind of light a lot, then it can just bring more attention to them and it doesn't really faze them. But in the case that we will be talking about, um, this isn't really a good thing. So by the end of this, in no certain terms, that governments may not impose any general obligations on newspapers to publish information they don't choose to. So that's where we're going to be headed. But before that, we're going to rewind back to 1972, in which a man named Pat Tornillo, or Tornillo, whatever, however you want to say it, runs for seat in the Florida legislature. So obviously, in this case, you do want to be shown in a positive light, right? But the media got him. A newspaper called the Miami Herald posted an article or a column at the time that kind of badmouthed him in a way that was negative. It concerned the local teachers union and his involvement at the time. In response, he sued, and he did this under it was called the Florida law at the time, which was something that enforced newspapers, if they wrote a bad column or a bad article about someone, that they had to allow the person that they badmouthed to say something in return, and that had to be posted in that same paper. They had to be given the same amount of space, and it's just a mess when you think about it. To have those in the, I'm sure people were interested in that kind of stuff, but it just defeats the purpose, if you think about it, of writing that original column in the first place. Um, so, yeah, that was the Florida law. 2 years later, more digging deep into this law and thinking about it, um, it was found to not be legit anymore. It couldn't stand. So they made more rules. They thought about it more, and then they kind of decided that this law defeats the purpose and violates this First Amendment to allow people to say what they want and to have something right next to it that's just like all the opposite. It's just, it doesn't make much sense. The original statute for this Florida law was it was enacted in 1913. Um, this law to be able to reply to something that was said bad about you or said negatively. Um, but yeah, again, it really makes sense because just think if you were to have a brand or a company or something, you want the best things to be represented in your company or your brand. Um, so for this paper, for instance, if you were to write something that you put your heart and soul into, or not even that, just your thoughts, and it's yours, and then to have to be forced to take someone else's complete opposite spectrum thoughts and put them, right next to them or in the same vicinity, um, just what's the point? You know, why would you want that being represented on what's yours? So that's what I got from it. And of course, these days we have social media to put our thoughts out there immediately with the click of a button. Just say what we think about something, and we don't have to force people to be like, hey, put my thoughts on your page or something. You can just do it on your own. You can get lots of likes for it or not at all, and it can impact someone or it can't. It's just the times have changed a lot, and I'm glad that this was found to be something that violates our First Amendment. So that's what I have. I'll catch you guys later.